Could this rare sigil actually be really good for increasing your damage output? One of the most important traits to increase your damage in Granblue Fantasy Relink is the damage cap, and getting this as high as possible is essential to increasing your overall damage output and DPS ceiling, as just slapping on attack sigils without increasing the cap will cause you to hit a lower limit. For example, using smaller numbers to make it easier, if you have a theoretical character that has 2 attack sigils on that allow him to hit a training dummy for 20, but your damage cap is currently sitting at a maximum of 10, then you will not be able to hit more than 10, even though you have all that extra attack on, until you increase your damage cap. Luckily, some characters have unique sigils, weapons, and overmasteries that increase their damage cap or have ways to bypass it. What this means is any sigil that has a damage cap increase on it is very sought after and very good, such as this one called Glass Cannon. It has a percentage damage cap increase of up to 30%, but with a big drawback. The description of it says it boosts your attack power and damage cap, but every hit taken inflicts you with Dizzy. So we're going to do some myth busting here today, as people have been theorizing some things like Dizzy Resistance, Debuff Immunity, and another rare sigil that could be a workaround to this drawback, letting you increase your damage without the risk. So what is the Dizzy status? If you are familiar with action games, this is like a confused state where your character is unresponsive, which is something that you don't want in a game like Relink, where monsters are throwing everything they've got at you. While doing some testing for this video, we actually learned that Dizzy lasts around 6 seconds, but can actually be sped up, and you can lessen the time of this to 3 or 4 seconds by spinning the stick on your controller. So let's jump into some testing, and the first thing to test is Dizzy Resistance, as this is the most common thing that we see players theorizing as a countermeasure to negate the negative effect of Glass Cannon. For this, you will need to get Dizzy Resistance V or V+, fully upgraded until you get level 30 on it, which is basically 2 level 5 sigils maxed out. We've tested this in the training room, and even with level 30 Dizzy Resistance, you can see that when we are hit by the training dummy, we are still inflicted with Dizzy. This means Dizzy Resistance basically doesn't work as a countermeasure to Glass Cannon, and we also tested this in an actual quest just in case, and the results were the same. But the next thing for us to test was to reduce the level of Dizzy Resistance to lower than 30 to see if this would actually reduce the effect's duration. After getting hit with Dizzy Resistance on at level 28, the time taken to recover was still the same at 6 seconds. This means Dizzy Resistance will not synergize with Glass Cannon in all of our testing. But the next thing to test that people have commonly thought would work is the Debuff Immunity buff. So we went to work testing this with both Vasaraga and Siegfried, as they both have buffs that grant Debuff Immunity. From testing both of these versions of Debuff Immunity, we were still inflicted with Dizzy when hit, and although there may be other skills that have Debuff Immunity, from our testing, this buff did not work. So both Debuff Immunity and Dizzy Resistance are myth busted for working with Glass Cannon. But there is another means and a thing to test. This is the rare potent green sigil that you can only seemingly get from curios, and here's what it does. It will remove all status ailments upon using a green potion, and adds an additional debuff immunity effect to your green potions if 2 potent greens are equipped. During our testing, we found out that Potent Greens does actually remove the Dizzy effect, making it an actual workaround to Glass Cannon. Even though you do get inflicted by the Dizzy, you can instantly remove it afterwards by hitting a potion, which is what you would want to do anyway after getting hit. It only works with the top small green potion, so you won't be able to use this with your other potions like your blue one and your large one. But if you bring the Potion Hoarder sigil as one of your sigils maxed out, you will have plenty of these to use throughout a quest. However, if you aren't fast enough triggering the potion after getting dizzied, you will get stuck in the animation, so you need to activate it right after you get hit. One of the biggest downsides of this combo, however, is the number of sigil slots that you will use up, adding in Potent Greens and Glass Cannon. And we're currently unable to confirm if Potent Greens and Glass Cannon can roll as a secondary stat or on a V+ sigil. But the thing is, running this in a quest isn't quite as bad as you think it would be if you're proficient with evading and guarding, so you don't get hit that much anyway. We were able to easily get through some Proud content and have a bunch of fun using it, but the downside was we did actually lose out on some damage because of the number of sigil slots that this took up. So Potent Greens and Glass Cannon is confirmed as working together, but we can't 100% recommend running this yet, unless you just want to try it for fun and see how you get on with it. If you can fit this into your Sigil build and still be hitting your damage cap, then this is obviously going to lead to more damage, but it's very hard to achieve this without perfect sigils. So what do you think about all of this? Tell us down below and subscribe for more Granblue Fantasy Relink.